All right, we're at Don's house, hopefully to make an awesome "this is how you do scenery" stuff. Tell us about it, Don.
This is the PRR scenery demonstration. Take one.
Oh, you're killing me here. All right, cut. All right, take it from the top this time. Don't screw it up. Jeez.
All right, we're at Don's house, hopefully to make an awesome "this is how you do scenery" stuff. Tell us about it, Don.
This is the PRR scenery demonstration. Take one.
All right, we got audio out of sync. We got rain on the roof. Hopefully, it can only get better from here.
First thing I want to do is show you some of the things we're going to use today. And I'll just go around the table. So we're going to I'm going to show you our little layout thing here. Some ideas we have. But this is called Sculpt-A-Mold. This is a bag that it comes in. And I'll show you a little bit later when we make it up, but it's by the American Clay Company. Got a little fiber and stuff in it. We mix it with water and it makes a nice material to sculpt mountains. The other key part of that, this stuff is called, with an old dead bee, shaper sheet. So it's kind of some aluminum foil. It's got this texture on the back. It's kind of like a non-woven. Comes flat, but I'll show you when we use it. We kind of scrunch it up and you can make any shape you want. It also gives it strength. So I got some scissors to cut this. I've got a hot glue gun we're going to use. Red Solo cups. When you're doing little batches, and you can't make too much of this ahead because eventually it'll harden up and you'll have to throw it away. But Red Solo cups, very handy. Hold beer, hold Sculpt-A-Mold. Very famous song made after it by the once late great, recently late great Toby Keith. Of course, you got your assorted little jugs to put water in and to mix Sculpt-A-Mold up. Something to put it on. I've got this palette knife that was from my mother's artist stuff.
So you stole that from your mom?
Yeah, she left it to me. Thought I was going to be a painter. I broke her little palette knife, but I bought another one. This is a handy tool. This is a big tool. And a little Sculpt-A-Mold, a little sculpting knife. Because we're going to use some modeling board, kind of be the backdrop strength to make a web. This is a handy dandy little cheap brush, which you'll use. We'll use it with water. I'll show you how we're going to use that. Here's some foam tack, paper towels, sprayer. Works. Got to get that right thing. No. There. Measuring tape that we're not going to use. Well, we might. And then a little straight edge. I've got some foam, our road bed, and as I said, we got some modeling board is what they call it. And I got some stuff down here that was left over, and you never know when you're going to use pieces of something, because when you start a design, you think you know what you're going to do, but then you see things, and you do things, and it changes. Since I have a 1954 Craftsman table saw that my father-in-law gave me, which is a good year because it's the year I was born, I was able to cut some dado, not dodo, some dado, using a dado blade to cut some what they call a rabbit joint. Makes it a little stronger, so I just glued these. Got my air nailer, and
You got your what?
as Normie said on This Old House, you got to be old to remember that. If you watch This Old House, it'd be Bob Vila. You say, "Hi Norm," "Hi Norm," "Hi Bob," and then he'd be doing something, and he'd take his handy dandy air nailer. Actually clamp this a little bit to bring it up, and then I put a piece of 1/4-inch plywood, and then I have a sheet of foam that I use on top. Some people use Homosoap. There's no wrong way or right way. My home system I learned when I started this, I use that big thick 2-inch stuff, and it allows you to cut into it. Maybe I want to make a ditch, maybe I want to make a culvert, a lake. I already marked this at 5-inch center line and 7-inch center line. To give you some perspective of how this is going to look, let's just lay down the road bed.
Speeding up, putting down the road bed, X-Acto knife, permanent marker, eyeball it up, measuring tape, etc.
As the rain falls off the trees, this is foam tack. Use this to glue down foam stuff, any kind of stuff.
Laying down glue for the foam. Don also uses the glue right underneath the track.
So we'll have the road bed down, and I'll give us a little picture on what do we want to do. Now I want to demonstrate making mountains with the Sculpt-A-Mold and shaper sheet, and thinking about a wall. I'm thinking about some other stuff of what this is going to be.
With the glue down, time to put down the foam. Alternating back and forth between the tracks, keeping an eye on that center line.
So where did you get the dimensions from to lay your track?
Funny you should say that, because I happen to have in my shop
Hey, get back here, we're doing a video.
the National Model Railroad standards. And then it showed you on that page how big I wanted to make it. And then the next page, because I wanted to make sure, or on the next page, it shows you the dimensions.
Yeah, so you didn't even have to think anything up. You just had to look stuff up.
Yeah.
Using a scale to check the measurements, making sure the roadbed is proper.
So there's our road bed. I've taken buildings that I like and I want to put in, or I got an idea, like I want this to be a village, or I want a town, or whatever. So I'm trying to make mountains here. So I'm visualizing myself driving up through the Adirondacks, or through West Virginia, or through Pennsylvania. And you get off into the rural area, and you're going up a mountain road. Maybe there's a creek along the side, and a railroad that'll follow the creek bed or the valley. And you come up against a building or some kind of town or something. So I thought of motor court. And I thought, well, maybe this will fit, because then I start looking at stuff where I want it to be, and I did this on my home layout. I had some buildings that I liked, I wanted to use, so I kind of laid things out. So I don't have that much space here, but let's say right here, we're going to have the road coming up, something like that, but we're going to have, I want to demonstrate a kind of a higher mountain for you. So how about kind of maybe in this area? And I thought too, I said, I haven't done any water work yet. Maybe we'll have a falls here. So I'll have to think about that when I lay out the shaper sheet, the Sculptamold, and our webbing. So I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking about too, I wanted to show how you can just make your own wall. Everything in nature is random, and your eye will put together stuff. You may not think it looks real or good enough, but it really will when we're done, especially when we paint it, and that'll be another episode where we paint and mix colors, do wet on wet, and you'll be surprised at what you do. So I'm thinking maybe there's a little hill here a little bit, and we've got a little retaining wall, and maybe our road is along here, and it's going to go into the motor court, or a motor court like here. Maybe we'll have some buildings along here if I do that. And then maybe that comes, we'll figure about that. We'll come up with something here. Maybe we want a road and a crossing here to go this way. Maybe we'll make a crossing down here a little bit. And if we have a falls, we got to have a place for the creek, so maybe the creek will go here. Maybe we can make a little bridge for the road. We don't know that. Just think about stuff. And even here, that's one thing about foam. We could dig this out a little bit, and even if I put my legs over here underneath, if I do that, I could probably dig down there a little bit. The plexiglass will cover it. Maybe we'll just have a little washout here with what do you call it? A little thing for a bridge for the railroad tracks here, and maybe a washout here with stones and stuff. So we're thinking about that, and we'll see what we do over here. Maybe it's a general store, maybe it's another. Maybe we got a little mound of stuff here. Maybe we have a general store here with the end of the motor court, and the road goes along its way. Maybe it goes here. Maybe we have another little mound here. So we'll see. So that's what I was thinking about in the last 24 hours since doing this. This is just model board. You get that at the hobby shop. I do a lot of stuff down in Charlottesville at Rail Tales. They were the ones that had classes on Saturday afternoons. I think they still do. You used to in the later part, you kind of had to call them that you were interested, so you knew somebody was showing up. But they have classes on how to put a decoder in, how to do mountains, how to wire, how to lay track, how to do all kinds of things. So that's how I learned a lot of this stuff to be dangerous.
Draw up the mountain, Cut it out. No need to cut straight. Make it look like a mountain. Time for
It doesn't have
supports.
to be right to the top. Just cut it down an inch, I'll show you. Because your shaper sheet, you can make up a lot of stuff for that. So I'm going to cut it there, put this out of the way so I don't cut it again. And let's just cut some kind of profile, what our mountain or what our hill is going to be. It's kind of a steep face. So now we're working something like this.
So I'm curious, you're going like 8,000 miles an hour, so is this all in your brain or did you put it on a piece of paper?
This is in my brain.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. I had experience on my home layout, so that helps. And this is kind of how we learned some of this stuff, actually, where I got this idea, because the training method that Brett used on a Rail Tales is he started with a module. And so on the module, we put track down, and we put the, wired it up and started to make the mountains and started to make the background, started to put the surface treatment, whatever it is, grass or whatever. So I appreciate that, but it's kind of like...
So this isn't your first time?
Not my first rodeo. But we could put a sign here that says, watch out for falling rock. That would be helpful. So we'll do that. I'm going to put another one here just to hold.
Time out from supporting the mountain to get an inside view of how Don thinks about scenery and where he gets some of his ideas from. Kind of interesting. All right, Don, so tell us what you want, what you really, really want.
You know what I wanted? I know I wanted a tunnel. I wanted some mountains. I got the rail line. I wanted a town. I wanted a little town, and a railroad yard. So you kind of know what you want, and you want some sidings to do some stuff on. And I'm eyeballing a 90-degree angle, which is sort of 90 degrees. And what you finish up, because you're designing things, what you think you're going to do, you see something. That's how I got a lake on the one backdrop. There was, I was going on an incline because I wanted, if you've seen it, if you were here at the house having spaghetti dinner, the Tappahannock viaduct up north of Scranton is a mile and a half, is a mile long? 24, I think it's a mile long. I wanted that in there, so I made a facsimile in there. So I had a grade, and when you looked at the grade, I saw a white spot, and I said, that looks like a lake, because where I cut houses out from some other scenery, it looked like a point. So you just kind of go with the flow. I said, that would look cool, let's do that.
Find it interesting. There's not a lot of measuring going on, just a lot of experienced eyeballing stuff up. Yep, supports go here, supports go there. Yep, talking about the mountain doesn't need to be super sharp because it's a mountain that needs to look like a little bit rough like a mountain. Believe it or not, we're going like 20 times the actual speed, so for your convenience. Trying to keep the video somewhat short and so you guys don't fall asleep. Anyway, all the supports are cut, so now it's time to find the glue gun, see how that works out.
All right, so I got some of my old, I stole my wife's glue gun, so I've always used that, and then this comes off, so that makes it very annoying. I need a little bit of stuff here. So what I'm going to do,
So I guess hot glue's better than epoxy or some other stuff?
yeah, just quicker. And actually, that's how I made my little train hauling compartment thing with actually board from to make presentations from, and hot glue gun. So obviously that's not right angles down, so not very good, but I can make it work because all this is support. And we'll see how we want that to work. And I'll do this little thing. This is shorter, and I'm hoping my design is good, and it probably won't be, and we'll have to rework it, but who cares? You can always do something again if you don't like it. Call rework. Okay, I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use the glue gun again. Let's put that there. Okay, so that, we've got kind of a mountain here started, as you can see. I'm going to unplug my glue gun for a minute so it doesn't go ballistic, but I am going to use it again to glue the shaper sheet. So let me go get the shaper sheet, and I'll get rid of this stuff for now, because I think we're all done. Look at that. We'll be right back after these messages. So we're back. This is shaper sheet. As you can see, when you roll it out, it's really flat and shiny. It doesn't have much strength. But when you crumple it up and you do things to it, you know, it has a lot more strength, and then we put the Sculptamold on it. And actually it goes like this. Nice product. I mean, in the old days, so what they used in the old days, if you, over to the left is Phil Irwin's Corner. You can zoom in on that. And I forgot what they used to put on there, but you can zoom in on this thing, and I was thinking, I'm still trying to rebuild this thing. I like some of the stuff that we have, but this probably had newspaper in it. It's soft. Maybe had sandpaper on top. I can't think. It feels like sandpaper. So here are mountains that Phil Irwin did. Right? Paper used to be used. I don't know what's underneath it. I haven't torn it apart yet. I'll probably, there's some stuff under here. I'll probably just leave this, and I'll take the Sculptamold I'm going to use and just go over it to get a different effect, and I can keep it nice and smooth too if I want that, you know, and I'll show you that with a knife. So, you know, you can use it on old stuff, and I'm thinking about, I bought this, I bought some stuff on eBay already built. Of course, we got some wood yards in our thing, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I put that different backdrop that I've got to refix because it doesn't like it. I bought these buildings here, and so I'm using what he had. I like this bridge, but I may change this and maybe take all this off or make a little road in here and redo something, and I'm not sure about this yet. But again, I had this building. I said, how would that look? I don't know. It kind of gives you ideas. That's what I was talking about before. I like this part. I like the bridge. I talked about water, and I'm going to make that maybe a grayish blue or water looking anyway, so it looks like it's going into a lake or something. So again, you just kind of rock and roll as you go and see what you see. And but anyway, this is what was done in the past, and we're just doing a different method. We'll go back to our layout.
All right.
So nice thing about hot glue, that's all nice and dry. I'm not sure about this. I got that squared off. I guess that would, I might just take that down a little bit because, did I leave the thing here? I'm kind of thinking how that'll work when we go, another module comes up against it. I might give myself some room, so maybe I'll just go here to a steep drop off. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what we just did. So, now I'm going to kind of crunch this up a little bit and then flatten it out just to get some little crinkles in there so it starts to get some strength. And again, once you put the Sculptamold on, it's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 days, depending on the moisture, to dry the Sculptamold. I'll talk about that later, but it'll be hard as a rock you could stand on. And I probably cut too much and wasted it. So I'm kind of going to lay this out a little bit and see how this is going to look. And this is where you kind of think about your mountain. Again, whoops, let's do it the right way, Don. Think about your mountain. And I'm going to end up putting hot glue along these things. And I guess you don't have to show everything. Who cares where the water falls? It's your layout, it's your rules, so who cares?
Time for some hot glue action on the shaper sheet, on the rib supports, a little bit everywhere. Here we go. And some finishing glue on the bottom to seal it down to the table. With the glue gun away, it's time to work a little bit on that waterfall.
And let's see what we're going to have here. So we got that. We got this. Let me see. I want this to point out, so I'm going to give that a little ooh. See, that's a little ooh. You can move this around a little bit. Punch that around.
Now it's time to cut out little pieces to fill in the top part that wasn't covered with the original sheet. Now it's time to make that little mound out of spare parts.
Let's see what will happen. I'm trying to make a little mound. there. Because, you know, if you're going through the mountains, could be a little bit of a mound here. Maybe the road will be a little bit more here. So maybe I'll make just a little bit of a thing there. Give structure. You know what I like about little railroads? Everything's so tight. But in the towns, everything kind of just is very tight. And it gets through the little spaces, and especially when you look at the pictures in my Model Railroad magazine, to me it really looks cool. So in ways I've kind of tried to model that in some things I do. Little venues, little alleyways, and the railroad track comes through. Now we're going to start to mix up some Sculptamold. The whole big batch, you do this because it'll start hardening up, just like sheetrock goop and everything else that you do. So I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to take a little bit like that, and it's usually a 50-50 water mix, and when you get it mixed right, it looks like tuna fish. And if it's too much water, Brett said, you know, when you take a little bit away and you see water left over, you got a little bit too much water.
And while Don does the heavy lifting, let's look at Sculptamold a little bit. It says it's easy to use, economical, has the features of clay, plaster, and paper mache. Dries hard in 30 minutes. It won't shrink. Can be dried at 200 degrees. Can be sanded, sawed, carved, nailed without chipping. And it contains fiber to make it strong and keep it regular.
It's starting to ball up a little bit. I like it so it's getting close. It's all wet.
Now we're going to speed ahead a little bit while the master plays with the water a little bit, add a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. We'll be back in a second.
You see, now it looks kind of like tuna fish to me, with a respectable amount of mayonnaise.
Spray bottle just has plain water.
Wet. And now let's start at the top. So I did it this way because I got a lot of ground to cover. So I'm going to put some of this stuff on here, right? I'm going to get it on there. And then I'm going to take the palette knife and shape, and then I'm going to do some other stuff with that old ratty brush that I have. So I'm going to try to do this so I can work my way across. And I think I'm going to be pretty good. And one thing, you know, you try in technique, you try to get it all smooth and not show a seam if you're trying to be really good at it. And I've used all my stuff up, so I'm going to have to do that. Now, you can take this knife, see? You can move this around and spread it around nicely, kind of around the ground. You know, you don't have a big chunk of stuff. It looks goofy. I'm going to move this around a little bit. Do some stuff on the edge. See, I kind of got that nice and smooth and pretty, and then I can do some other wild and wacky stuff with my brush and make some effect. And it looks like, well, that looks awful. Doesn't look like rocks. But you hang with, especially at the end of the day when it's painted. So I got to get up here. Maybe I took on too much. I need some more goop, but I can always go back and add some more. So I'm getting around the edges so that looks good, and then kind of fix this here so when I come back on another level I don't have a bunch of stuff going on here. So I got this water, got my brush, and then you just, you know, there's no right way. You kind of just different angles. Maybe, you know, on a mountain you make a little cow path up, or you make a little washout. So use different spots of it. I'm leveling out the you know, the sticky up parts. Yeah, maybe, yeah, I want some irregularity here. I'm going to smooth this out. Smooth that out. You know, like it's not seamy. Maybe I want to make that, let's move that up a little bit. Maybe we got like a little ledge. Maybe we got a little ledge there. Which I can make a ledge over by our waterfall. But see, then you take that, and you can take that, and you can kind of leave that ledge there. Something like that. Put some cuts in it, and I'll show you that's kind of the technique for a wall, making bricks and stuff. So we'll leave that little ledge there just because we can. A little more water, big strokes, boom, 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 boom. Get it level, or, you know, smoothed out a little bit. Like that. Put it. Not doing a hole, but maybe different parts of the brush. I want some more irregularity there. See what I'm doing? And then maybe not too many brush strokes and string marks there, so I'll just hit a little bit. Like that. A little water in there. A little water in there. Kind of helps a little bit. So you just kind of have some fun. So well, it's kind of looking more like a mountain. You can kind of move stuff around. No, let's go this way. Maybe we have something that way. All right. So, there's a hole there. You think that's about where? Whoop! I gotta either make some more when I come back and hit that part. Clean the back because I want a clean face on the back. Oh. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to make another batch. And we're going to work our way around.
So how long do you have to work before it hardens up and you can't play with it anymore?
I'd have to go back and remember, but this kind of thing, I would say conservatively 15 minutes, maybe 20, I think.
Okay.
I think. But you'll know, well, you'll know.
We'll know when we see you take a hammer to it.
Yeah. Oh, see, now that didn't. I think it's coming back to me now. I think the water.
According to the sheet, it'll be as hard as plaster in 30 minutes, so you better hustle.
Whoa, get back here. I'm going to do you later. Dun, dun, dun. The waterfall. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, while he continues to play around a little bit, we'll speed it up and then slow back down for some more technical stuff around the waterfall area.
Let me make another little lookout. We could put a hiker up here. Of course, you'd say, well, in a round mountain, you wouldn't have a flat outcrop. I said, well, maybe, but maybe we'll make this. I got to do it on my home layout. I'm going to take one of my high mountains and I've seen it on some of the modules, is to put just put a lot of ground cover on so it looks like trees covering it. So this is good. I want to get going with it before it gets hard. So I got my handy dandy paintbrush. We're going to work this around. Days to dry out. So let me get my seam here, what we just did before. Make sure that looks copacetic. I could leave a little more on there, and I got more. Maybe I'll do that the next time. At least over here, you could leave more goop on there because you can move it and make shapes. You know, maybe make a ledge or halfway natural, no sticky up stuff. Hope you can hear me because I get mumbling. Now this will come alive when we do the painting. I have to let it dry. It could take 4 or 5 days to dry, especially in this weather. It's inside. It still took a long time, even in the winter when I did my layout. See a few places I want to do here. Our challenge on the waterfall. Make a little bit of a washout. So I want more on the side. And some there to scope on top. And I'm going to come out flat here. I'll put a bunch there so I can sculpt like I was saying before. We got put enough stuff there so we got enough to work with. I have a lot of stuff, but I got a lot of sculpting to do, so this is the sheer face. Maybe it'll be waterfall motor court with the best hamburgers within 50 miles. Half pound with raw onion and good cheddar cheese. Something, and again, I never made a waterfall, so we're all going to make one right now. And how does that work? How does that look? I'll do this smooth to begin with, and we can create a pool in the foam. That's one thing about having foam you can sculpt in. You can make a little pool here, and we could cut in to have our creek bed, all that kind of stuff. All right, so let me get you going, get you halfway cleaned up so I don't have to monkey with it and let you dry. All right, you're going to be pretty good because it's pretty sheer face over here. No kids allowed playing. I got a little washout kind of thing. So now I got that. And now this is going to come out to a waterfall. And to have a waterfall, we got to have a sheer face. And maybe some water falling on that. Starting to feel, it's not drying up yet, but you don't want to dilly-dally too long. You can start to, you'll notice because you won't be able to move it around much. Jagged rocks here. I have jagged rocks here. Maybe I have something falling out there I'll have to fix. Your imagination is whatever you want to make it. It's not going to be important here. Maybe a little round thing there. And we got jagged rocks. Jagged? Not so jagged. That makes a nice look. Maybe up underneath. A little relief. And then that'll fall down there. And we'll have a pool. That looks pretty good. Let's work on smooth stuff out with a brush. From what we did last time, make it look like it's almost real. Maybe go back. A lot of stuff in a hurry. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
So when you're doing this, is the sound effects necessary, or is it just enhanced?
It's enhanced. It's like cooking. You know, we take the garlic and we take this, so yeah, it helps. It helps the creative mind.
Juices flow.
Juices flow. I got like a washout, a little water. Maybe we'll paint this. It'll look far away. Maybe we'll just have a little blue trickle down. And we'll get bigger and we'll create an illusion. And then we'll have water dripping over here. With however we do that, we'll have to find that out. What we can make with water that makes it look like icicles. Holes aren't bad because after we paint it, and I'll show you that step, because we paint it and it's we have some multiple colors when we paint. It's wet on wet, and you can build color and shadow, and then at the last little bit we do another technique I'll show you that makes it kind of a little more rocky. Create an illusion. That's a good idea, Don. Let's create an illusion. The water coming down. Okay, so I think that's good for that one. Just finish this corner off, same technique. Little brush stuff. You know, you wrap it around. I hit it pretty good, but there's always something. Then you get to the point, say, leave it alone. Okay, so remember this little thing I had over here? Let's just do this thing. Well, it's starting to firm up a little bit. Let's make this. After what you've seen, you can see it's going to be very easy to do, but you know, you put a little, it's nice to put a little structure. You put structure here and there, blend it in. You got to leave some room for the train to go by. I got a lot of extra so I can fan it out. I don't have to use it all, but maybe I will. I can make a little thing here. Once we get our little palette knife. And boy, we could have made this, you know, like a, well, I guess it wouldn't look good, but I was going to say like a piece of limestone outcrop or something more structured, but probably wouldn't kind of go. But this will look cool. We got a little opening, and our road's going to come through here. People are going to see the best hamburgers in 50 miles, and they're going to stop and want one. I guess that's pretty good. You Get rid of the brush strokes a little bit. Be very good.
I wasn't going to mention this at all, but since this is a video of how to do it, well, here's something we might have forgot. Remembering back how Don put the module together, he was under a time crunch, so he kind of ignored the fact that we should probably add the wires and the pockets for the legs. Well, you can do this with the module upside down. We might even need to make a final segment of how to do all that stuff while laying on your back on the concrete floor. Oh, and one last thing, don't forget to autograph it. Speaking of by Don, let's wrap this thing up now.
So, that's today. So what did we do? We built this yesterday. We measured our 5 7 inches and put down a road bed, which is now glued. Give you some perspective. We took the model board and we kind of cut it out, hot glued it. We took our shaper sheet and made the kind of mountain we wanted to make. And then we took our Sculptamold, which when I bought this maybe a year or so ago was $13. It's probably 20 by now. And we mixed that about 50-50 and used our Sculpta knife and paintbrush, water, and your imagination and made a mountain. So next time, this has got to dry in about 5 days because all the fiber and stuff in here. And then we'll work on painting some of this. And then we'll go to the next step after that. Maybe we'll put another mountain or two on here, I'm not sure. So that's it for today. See you later.
Special thanks to Don for all the effort he put in. The video took about 2 hours, but he put in a lot more time than that to get it all ready. So thanks again, Don. Looking forward to the next segment.